Welcome to another episode of the Way of BJJ podcast. As always, due to strong language, inappropriate analogies, please do not listen to this around your kids. Now let's get to the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Way of BJJ podcast, and in which we have unfiltered conversations about topics related to jiu-jitsu and martial arts and life and fun and having a good laugh.
Yes. Always being serious, taking stuff seriously here. We never joke around.
Yeah, never, ever.
Never.
Yeah, that's not like us, you know. There's not a single funny bone in our body.
None.
You know?
So always take us seriously.
So that is why go follow us, subscribe, whatever platform, right? Just click that button and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, leave us a 5-star review wherever that's applicable.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, cool. So Tuna has Tuna has an idea for the subject matter today, because one of the challenges about a podcast is we have to constantly find new things to talk about.
Yes. So Senpai, I came up with the idea, and Senpai's putting me in the spot by letting me take lead on what we're talking about today, I guess. Or like about subject matter.
Yeah.
Street fights.
Street fights.
Which is actually important, like, or self-defense, right? Like
so
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, are we talking about actual street fights, or are we talking about like Street Fighter, like the game?
Because maybe we'll do another podcast on a Street Fighter game.
Because the funny thing about the Street Fighter game is that there isn't a jiu-jitsu fighter in there, right?
That's just proof that jiu-jitsu doesn't work on the streets.
If
it did, it would be in a Street Fighter game.
Oh no.
And there's how many Street Fighter 6 now?
Yeah. And with all the offshoots and everything, there's like
there's flaws, and still no jiu-jitsu. So it doesn't work, or we get someone better contact Capcom.
Yeah.
But so like, Senpai, what do you think of, like, first of all, let's talk about self-defense, general self-defense classes.
Sure.
What's your opinion on it?
Sure. I mean, self-defense. I mean, it's not my focus, right? It's not my focus. I'm training. I train jiu-jitsu for sports and fitness mostly, right? But I like what we always come back to this guy, the old school guy, Chris Halter.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's so wise. He's got a really great quote that I love.
Yeah.
He says when you train jiu-jitsu, you have to think street, train sport, and live the art.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? So what he means is this: if all you focus on is the self-defense aspect of jiu-jitsu, then there's really not that many things to train.
You're done.
Right? You're done. Yeah, like 6-week, 8-week course or whatever. Yeah. Then you have most of the basic stuff.
Because you don't need all the other stuff.
Right.
You just need kimuras and whatever.
So in order for this to be like a lifetime martial art, journey, then you have to train for the sports aspect of it. But while you're training the sports aspect of it, you have to think about the street
aspect. What does he mean by that then?
To keep it real, right? So you're like, hey, I'm training the berimbolo because it's fun and it works in a sporting context. But you have to be very strict with, okay, but when I train it, I know I'm doing this for the purpose of the sport. And when I'm on the street, I'm not gonna berimbolo. I'm gonna double leg and get to mount or something, right? Yeah. So but the part that really gets me is when you do that, that's how you can live the art. Right? Because otherwise, you're not really living the art part of the martial art. You're only focusing on the martial. But the art is
expression.
The art is actually the most important part about this whole journey. Right?
Yes. And how often are you going to be in a self-defense situation?
Hopefully never.
Yeah.
Right? But that being said,
it's important too, because actually I think the key thing in self-defense is not so cheesy. But just like, if you know something, and you're confident in it, and especially if it's martial arts, it's like the first kind of bare defense, you know, like even like personally, like Taekwondo and Karate, like, are just kind of like funny. They lost their mystery even for me when I was a kid. Like, I never thought they would be like whatever. There's no respect for them.
Really? Right? Even when you were a kid?
Yeah, as a kid, yeah. I was just like, that's just what they're fake.
Okay, because I guess too many of your friends do it, and you can see that they can't really fight.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like karate. Who does that? Like, you know what I mean? Like that, like I like Bruce Lee and whatever, right? But like, I know it's just like Taekwondo-ish. It's just kind of like. And then when
But
the
that's
first
but I mean, because if we're on that subject, right? It's also cool to see the how when Bruce Lee did his martial art movies,
Yeah.
right? A lot of those moves were direct, right, to the point that they could, in theory, work in a real fight because
Yeah.
he's not doing like bunch of fancy movement, right?
Yes.
It's just pa pa pa, right? And then but then it started evolving, right? Then his choreography comes in, and then you have all
he
these
starts
choreographed
showcasing and
stuff,
stuff, he
right?
realized he needs to entertain people. And that's
Right.
the art part
Not
comes in.
for Bruce Lee, but like the subsequent martial arts stars like
For
Jackie
everybody,
Chan, like
yes.
Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and then they start getting more and more elaborate with the choreography, right?
Yeah.
And then
Because that art itself
right, then it turns
evolved,
into
but
a
but
martial
it
arts
didn't.
movie art, right?
Yes.
And not really martial art
art
for
itself.
the fighting aspect of it,
Yeah.
right?
So that's the art. So I guess the art part can take from the like from the whatever of it, right?
Right.
So how do you?
Yeah. But for self-defense, we have to think about them in different layers, right? I mean, how many people are actually training for like a real
Fight.
life or death encounter? How do you even train for that, right?
Yeah.
But most of the self-defense street situation we're thinking about is like a minor scuffle where somebody really right. I mean, maybe you road rage or something. Somebody comes in and try to throw a sucker.
But you know
punch or
what? Those are the
whatever,
ones you can train for, unless you're
Right.
in the military or like whatever, or like special services, and you have to do all the other stuff, right?
Right.
Just the basic stuff. So, what do you think of like sport, or I'm just gonna get straight to it. Like, I think some self-defense stuff, if they just drill it, by itself is dangerous. And that's why I didn't believe karate and taekwondo before too, or certain I didn't believe in kata alone.
Right.
As a coach, me and you have the discussion where like, I'm trying to find a balance, because I actually believe in repping and drilling.
Right.
Right? That's like my magician part of me. Because you need to like, I believe in perfecting that to a skill, but in itself it's not complete.
Right.
Right? It's like one is like making the knife, and then one is sharpening the knife.
Okay.
Right? Like, and I think what happened with martial arts, they make the knife, but it's not sharp.
Okay. So if
Sharpening is the knife
Okay.
is sparring.
So if I understand what you're saying is that they make the knife by creating artificial situation like, hey, if somebody grabs your neck like this, then you go, oh, whatever, right?
Yeah, and then we do that in jiu-jitsu too, right?
Right.
We'll teach a move, or we create the knife by learning something.
Right.
Sharpness comes from, we can create lots of knives. Some of it could be sharp, some of it will never be sharp. Right? So knife is like the technique or the
Right.
whatever. The sharpness of it is you using that technique, and that's just from sparring.
Right,
You
right.
can't get that from anywhere else, right? Because you can drill it. I believe in drilling it, and I can make it look nice, right? But I will never be able to land it unless I learn the little fight, the little pressure that happens, and the little kind of like how they would resist and the timing to get it. But if I don't drill it, then I have just a general movement.
Yes.
So I want to get it to a state where my movement is smooth, but in itself it's not. It's like a taekwondo guy who can do all the stuff, but then when like they've never had the spar, you know what I mean? Like an actual like
Yeah, so
Muay Thai sparring.
Yeah,
is
so
not just
so if like a brawler who's drunk that comes in,
Bam,
swinging
yeah.
wild punches, then they don't know how to react to that.
yes, but I'm not disclaiming the skill of the knives of the taekwondo. I'm just saying that some of them, right? And I guess people can say that for sports jiu-jitsu too. They don't like sharpen it like they're not getting sparring.
Right. But
I think
But I think that's the aspect of jiu-jitsu that helps with self-defense in a way, because self-defense situations are mostly unpredictable, right? It's not like they're not gonna always grab your neck. They're not always
Yes.
gonna swing a right hook.
Jiu-jitsu
But in
teaches you-
jiu-jitsu teaches you to have the basic concept of keeping yourself safe and then see what they do or funnel them into what you do.
or teaches you how to use your tools.
Right.
There's no because other martial arts just teaches you here's a tool. Jiu-jitsu teaches you there's two learnings in jiu-jitsu. You have to learn the tool and you have to learn how to
execute it.
execute the tool.
Yeah.
Right? Against someone who knows it too.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I think like when people like sports jiu-jitsu, would you say like good like a blue belt? Would you trust a blue belt in self-defense?
I would. So, but I think the way they train would be important as well, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to at least know how to take somebody down.
Yeah.
That's number one, right?
You don't have to be the best at
You
it.
don't have to be the best at it. I mean, your takedown only has to work on somebody who's not trained. You know? So
That's why I also believe in sweeps too. Even for a small guy, right? Like you got to get your sweeps up there.
right. Or
you don't
or
want
let's
to
say if
play
you fall
guard
onto your
too much.
if you fall onto your butt in a street situation, you should be able to sweep the person immediately.
Be on top, right? And it's like, it's like, oh, it's just a 2-point jiu-jitsu. No, it's actually like very.
Yeah, because I think there was a video clip of a jiu-jitsu black belt in a street fight against somebody. Then, I mean, he didn't go for takedowns or whatever, but he got the person in a front headlock and then swept the person using the front headlock.
And a patas.
Yeah.
And that honestly will discard a lot of argument against jiu-jitsu. They're like, it's a ground fight, because people who don't know jiu-jitsu think jiu-jitsu just you're on your back on your you're like on your playing guard. That's kind of like old school low level jiu-jitsu. I think if like a good jiu-jitsu person, if you look at like actually the people good jiu-jitsu person, like when they have their footages.
Old school jiu-jitsu is all about getting to the top. Man.
Actually, yeah. Like so I guess like the real jiu-jitsu people who get into it, like good ones, not even old school, just good ones, they're always on top. If they were at the bottom, they're not going to play guard. They're going to just sweep. And then this is kind of like my defense on like points. People like, oh, I hate point jiu-jitsu. Actually, points teaches you very good
Self-defense principles.
Yeah, because it's just all about like, I think what happened with points, it became bad because people are thinking of the points. They're not thinking of the
consequences
concept
of the position, right?
There's a reason why they gave it a point. It's a good fucking thing to do.
Right.
Don't think about just like, oh, I want to get the points. No, it's a good fucking thing to do. You want to fucking sweep. You want to be on top. You want to fucking, if you don't want to run away and then this motherfucker said shit about someone you care about, then you want to fucking pass their guard and sit them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, punish them.
Like, I'm getting fucking, what the fuck? I want to pass your guard, sit them out, bitch. Right? That's not way I can hurt you. I do jiu-jitsu. And then honestly, if there's multiple guys, I sit down, punch them out. I'm aware. I'm fucking aware of my fucking, surrounding.
Yeah.
But I'm always aware of my surrounding. Like I'd sacrifice that. But that's my personal style.
Right.
I'm a magician. Magicians, like our first thing is you got to know like angles, what people see, what you see, what you don't see, right? So it's just engraved in me, right? That's why I kind of make fun of like wrestlers sometimes, because I'm like, if I were to fight a wrestler and I know they're way better than me, I'm gonna fight them top of the roof because we'll both fucking die.
They won't give a fuck, so we just
they're gonna go for a double leg takedown and we'll both fall and die.
Off the building,
right? So like, it's powerful. It's great for tournament, great for competition, but it takes away. Because you need that for the takedown, but it takes away awareness, right? I actually saw a video where two guys, like they were, I think it was a husband and wife, and then they just wrestled on the fucking balcony. Guy fucking did like a power through, both fucking fell off the porch, man. It was it was messed up. And then, because so like, you have to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I think that's number one, right? I mean, even without going into the actual altercations and fighting, right? You know, the best self-defense, as any expert will tell you, is to be aware of your surroundings. So don't be in situations where you could, be cornered.
Yes.
Right.
And one thing I like to add from my jiu-jitsu is just I assume everyone has a knife. So be aware of their if you do jiu-jitsu, you don't ever not want to not see where their hands are.
Yeah.
It's okay for sports. I close my eyes thinking, but I want to know everywhere, right? I don't want you to go in your pocket. I don't want to have something in my pocket and you go into my pocket.
Right.
Right. So just I think honestly, sports jiu-jitsu guys are good. Like a blue belt, people make fun of them, but I would take a blue belt over a Krav Maga guy anytime. For the simple reason, people's argument like, if you're doing jiu-jitsu and you get punched in the face, can you still do jiu-jitsu? The blue belt probably can. I'm gonna give them that. Maybe if
unless you knock them out right away.
Yeah. I'm saying if they're sparring, right? And then they're like, they hit, maybe they'll stop. But I'm pretty sure if they're in a fight and they have to defend themselves,
they won't.
That blue belt, this adrenaline will go.
Yeah. Unless the punches are super hard, you don't feel it.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, the funny thing too. People who say that, they don't even train themselves too. Can they actually take a punch too? I love when people go like, oh, can you actually take the punch too?
Yeah.
Or people who don't train, they go on the ground, can you do multiple? Can you actually do multiple opponents right now without even
but
going
here's
to
the thing,
ground?
I mean, So again, I do have to pay respect to all the other martial arts too, right?
Yeah.
If you train in a way,
No, sparring.
right? If you train in a
If
way
you
where,
sharpen it.
hey, if your goal with your martial art is for self-defense, then you have to train that way, right?
Yeah.
So I think a good example would be like the Dog Brothers. Remember those guys, the Dog Brothers?
Which one?
Where they do grappling with sticks. On the right with sticks and knives, and when they grapple.
Oh,
the Dog Brothers, right?
Is that what
I
they're
mean,
called?
yeah,
Like,
the old school. I think they're Filipino guys too.
Yeah, I've seen like just MMA. They're like actual fighting each
Yeah,
other.
they're fighting
with,
each other
like,
with
with the
sticks.
head,
Yeah.
with the like just a head mask. But then that's
And
it. And then
yeah.
they just go ham with the sticks. And
Yeah,
then
then they get to the ground, they
Yeah.
grapple, and then they use the sticks to try to choke each other
Yeah.
out and use the sticks to break their arms and stuff, right? Yeah, it's like whatever.
I see one where the guy just went ham, threw the sticks away, grappled right away, right? Because he didn't want to get hit.
Yeah.
But it works, right? Like.
Yeah, so whatever situation you want to train for, you have to create an environment to actually train.
You have to spar. Right? You have to be in a situation where you. So here's the equation for that. You can't just drill, but drilling is important, right? You need to have the tools, but you need to learn how to use the tool. Drilling teaches you, like the movement for the tools, but there's a different art in using it, right? You learn how to do a kick, but you need to karate. I make fun of it, or whatever, or I make fun of it like the pure kind of like just katas schools. But the who spar like Wonder Boy, they use it perfect.
Yeah.
Because they have their tool, and I love the fact that they stuck with their karate. They didn't like even I make fun of it, but if you have a martial art and you stick with it, it really like impresses me, and you don't like become kind of like generic moldy. Because actually karate and taekwondo, they have really wicked like refined, like handed down techniques that's kind of like elevated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then way better, higher than MMA. But the reason is the MMA works, even though they're sloppier, or like MMA, or people who spar, is they're just sparring. That's why I see people who are like,
they're good at sparring.
They're ugly, they're good at
They're
sparring.
actually good at fighting.
But if you actually take someone like the Wonder Boy, right, or like Anderson Silva, and they actually have great techniques,
and also make them good at
good
fighting.
sparring, right? Then it's just like that's like the ideal, right?
Right.
So I think sparring outranks if I were to pick one, sparring would outrank the technique. It'll teach you grit there. But if you, for the art and you want to be good,
No, I hear
technique is
I hear
important,
you. Yeah. So
right?
if somebody who's practiced technique and his techniques are so refined, but that doesn't do hard sparring, versus somebody who got shitty technique but spars all the time. The guy who spars all the time will win in a real fight. Yeah.
Out of fight, they'll fucking win that. Like just out of just spirit, you know what I mean? But like,
But here's the thing then.
If we're comparing go ahead.
Because self-defense is not fighting, right? So which means like how much can people actually train in that type of high stress environment? I mean, and because it doesn't happen all the time, like what you know what I'm saying? Like what is the proper time and effort investment you're supposed to put into that?
Well, I think the karate works before. I lost my point there, right? Karate works before and whatever, because no one tested it. Because it had that mystique. It didn't have the mystique on me, but the mystique was important because the mystique let those people who genuinely believed it fuck people up. So no one tested them. If you do martial arts, you walk differently. Like here, I'm supposed to be picked on a lot. I'm goofy. I'm like whatever. I express myself. I'm not afraid to be silly. You know.
You wear the purple hat.
I wear the purple hat. Right? People talk shit on me online and whatever. But like when they meet me, they actually don't say that shit. You know?
They can see that crazed look in your eye.
Yeah, like martial artist just walks differently. And I wanted to be bullied just because it's fun. I believe in myself socially, and I think I'm charismatic enough, and I believe in myself physically. So
either way,
I want to be bullied because I want to, reverse Uno card them. But I haven't had that opportunity.
Yeah, it's you want to test your skills in those situations, really.
Not even the fight.
Yeah,
just to like.
Can you actually make that situation into a better situation
thing,
for you, right? Whether it's the escalation or whatever.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
just like even like at the work or whatever, right? Like they try to like like you just walk differently if you train a lot. You just have confidence in
Yeah. So,
everyone has a different walk. Everyone posture. I'm not a posture. I'm kind of like this and slouch. But then even then they smell like, why? No, you're baiting me somehow, right? Like,
yeah.
So like, and then you can see that. Like I can see it when walk, and that's the important part, right? But then you will get tested, and that's when sparring comes into play. So there's like levels to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to take it because you have if you reach a certain level.
Right.
But that confidence can also be a double-edged sword because it can really mess you up. So, but if you have it backed up, that confidence is key because then it prevents you from actually using it.
Right.
Right. But it's good to like to have to actually have something that's practical.
Yeah.
But if you have that confidence in the backup, it's actually more dangerous because then you think you're the shit, and then put yourself in a situation where you shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's great that you brought up all those points. But if push comes to shove, that you actually have to get into an altercation, right?
Yeah.
But I think the benefits of jiu-jitsu is that you are less likely to get sued because you can subdue the other person
Yes.
in a way that
I never looked at it like that. That's a good point.
right? Because honestly, how many times have we heard this story, right? Like somebody gets drunk, they get into a fight, throws a punch, knocks the guy out, the guy bangs his head on the concrete or whatever, then dies.
That's it.
Right?
Doesn't matter who started it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter at that point who's in the wrong, who's in the right, who instigated it. Doesn't matter. It's manslaughter.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would go to jail for
or you
quite a
can
long
get
time,
defense, defend yourself or whatever, but you're still in that mess.
Yeah.
That's just should not have been.
Yeah. And even if you're in the right, it never feels good to kill somebody, man. That shit will fuck with you for your entire life, you know? But with jiu-jitsu, same situation, get a takedown, mount, like what Matt Sarah did with the drunken guy at the restaurant, you know, mounted the guy, and then just held the person in mount, then just waited and you know, talk some sense into him, like, hey, I don't want to hurt you. That's, you know, and then wait for other people to come, for security or whatever, police to come, and then that's it. Then everybody leaves happy, you know. So.
And a legit blue belt can genuinely do that.
Yeah, you don't have to be a world-class black belt.
They're not going to be fighting. They're not going to be like knowing unless they do jiu-jitsu too, right? But we're talking about like against lay people.
Yeah,
who don't train.
Because one of our clients, one of our students, I keep saying client. That's that's my old habit. One of our students has a how old is Logan now? 13, 14, whatever, like 14-year-old kid, right? Not fully grown yet, right? So he would tell the kid to put one of his friends in mount until the full-grown man to try to get out, and they couldn't, right? So that's a perfect example.
Yeah,
perfect example of how powerful the art can be in a situation where you just need to hold somebody down, wait for help, and wait for the situation to get under control, right?
Yeah, and then all that for some rolling experience. I'm sure they haven't been punched or whatever, right? I don't think they need to drill that. They just be aware of it.
Yeah, but the person on the bottom, what if he punches you?
Here's the thing: they're comparing those guys that are punching, like, and they're picking first of all the highest level guys that are actually that train specifically to punch, you know, people on like leg lockers on the ground, and then they're comparing. Yeah, see what happens. But you're not as good as that guy on top. The guy on top actually have a specific certain skills that he drilled and trained.
Yeah. That's why it comes that's why it comes to my biggest pet peeve. It's when people make the argument, what? In that situation, I would just grab your groin, or I would just bite your ear, or I would just, I'm like, you dumb mother.
We would do that too.
Yeah, I'm in a better position to do it better than you can.
Yeah.
Like imagine if
I would do it with technique.
Yeah, imagine if I got you mounted.
Yeah.
Right? And then I decide to go easy on you. And then all of a sudden you slap me. Now guess what?
Oh, you go see.
Now I can slap you
You're not gonna
10 times harder.
Freaking.
I can drop my elbow on you.
Mochi.
Yeah, I can drop my elbow on you
Make
and
mochi
break your
with their
face
nose.
right there, right? So yeah, man, that's why I hate those arguments so much.
Yeah, it's just like if I gouge you, then I gouge you back. Basutan said that.
Yeah,
he does it. Whatever you think, I was talking to my friend, right? I was just like, he's talking about like, oh yeah, this my friend's big. You know, does he train? No. You know, I'd probably mess him up, right? It's just like, oh, well, you know, like because you have rules you follow. Like, well, actually, like, we follow them and we do all this. Now imagine if we don't follow them. You know, if you think about the people say, oh, you follow a rule. Think about it as a seal. The rule is putting a fucking seal in our fucking techniques. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, here's our like your handicaps. Don't do that, because if you actually don't do that, you'll kill me. So like, but guess what? They have it. So like, if your argument is like, well, I don't follow the rules, well, like, then you done fucked up, because now you're gonna say hey, I've unsealed all your shit, and now you're allowed to be the full beast that you can.
Yeah, they don't realize the only
I don't get that argument.
They don't
You know,
realize the only reason why we have rules is so we can train more.
so we don't fuck him up some more, right?
So we can train more and be safe, right?
Yeah.
And then guess what? The more safe we are, the more we train, the
better we get. Yeah.
And
So
then
imagine
now
if we can do this
flip
with all the
scale.
rules. Yeah. Like I never like. How come people don't get that concept? It's just like it's just like, oh, you do the rules to limit it. No, the rules makes us fucking better. Because guess what? The rules is we impose. It's not like a fucking casted spell. We impose on that. So like I said, we can keep on training.
Yeah.
Now you tell us you're not going to use the rules.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's you said it. The rules was protecting you.
Oh man, I know. It's like I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Yeah, and that's why I believe like even the nerdiest jiu-jitsu, the people they would beat up, I would take him over someone who doesn't train in a street fight.
Yeah.
Even like maybe they'll get punched first or whatever, right? Like, but I'm pretty sure like once adrenaline hits in, all the rolling, as long as they don't get played, will just come in and they will do better than the person who doesn't think, because they would probably spaz and start hitting them too, right? And it's not like that person who would hit them fucking trains striking anyways.
Right.
Most likely that jiu-jitsu person that does jiu-jitsu probably fucks around with striking a little bit on the side, but they don't talk about it because they're jiu-jitsu guys.
Yeah.
But their side messing around with like striking was already way better than the fucking person who don't train.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then the key thing, like, again, dangerous for specific self-defense is that there's no sparring.
Right.
Sparring is important.
So any art with sparring can be very lethal in self-defense.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
But that's the reason why I still think jiu-jitsu, for the reason that we said, you can control the situation better without hurting the other person too
She's
bad.
the best because she spar all the time.
Because honestly, like a high school wrestler,
High school wrestlers are great
like
too.
a high
What do
school
they do?
wrestler
Spar.
could do a double leg, pick the guy up, dump the guy, but the only problem is the guy can get seriously hurt from
Actually, yeah, you can kill somebody in wrestling.
Yeah, from a huge like a suplex or something,
Yeah.
right? Or a huge double leg takedown that they pick the person up nice and high, drop the person, the guy doesn't know how to fall.
Even a sweep,
Right?
Just having their back, just sweeping them, right? Like lifting them up and just throwing them on their side.
Yeah, so it's again, it's great for self-defense for street
Judo
situations.
things. I actually seen videos. Like I'm like in Africa, fucking so many women are so good at judo in Africa. I wouldn't even fuck around with anybody. As like a competitor myself, like I like, yeah, you can pick on me. But like I seen a video where this girl, she's fucking sick. But I'm like, she killed that guy, man.
Yeah, he dropped the guy on his head.
Yeah,
right?
she just both through him, like
Just
head
spike.
oh, there's a fucking rock there too. Like he's gotta be dead or paralyzed or something,
Or
right?
seriously injured for
Yeah.
sure, right? Yeah. But he probably deserved it. But at the same time, again, it never feels good to
really hurt
deal that kind of damage to a human being, you know?
Yeah. So jiu-jitsu is great.
That
And
will
then
stick with you.
For cops should know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, especially nowadays, you know,
Yeah.
there's so much legal ramifications in handling a situation
Yes.
poorly.
And just that too, I've seen so many videos where cops, 3 of them can even hold one person down.
Dude, I was watching a video the other day, 4 cops trying to tackle one person, but they were working against each other. They were like pushing in different directions that completely negates the directions of the
I
gravity,
see
right?
those videos too. That's why like when I hold like a group private session, like at the end of it for fun, I just get them to, I want to see how they react, right? And I get them like, hey, control this one person. And you know what? They do get away with each other, right? And so I came up with a theory with that too, right? That I actually want to like, if you're watching, you're a police officer in Vancouver area, sounds so cheesy, I should come to way of BJJ. We'll throw in, if you bring a group of people, I'll throw in like a free private lesson.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
even 3 of them. Like,
Yeah, we want to help you guys, you know,
Yeah.
for sure. And I know a lot of police officers are already trained, and yeah, if that's you, keep training. Let's
then
go.
come here and
Yeah.
level
Let's
up
have
with
some
us.
fun.
Yeah. If not, like, come try us out. And if you're not within the area, we know a lot of gyms. And then
Yeah.
we have a friend too that like he does for first responders.
He's a firefighter.
Firefighter, yeah. Then there's gotta be like a police officer though. If not, then we'll make something. But I genuinely believe it's for them too, and then for us too. If I were to be encountered with a police officer, I would like I'm gonna pray. I'm like, please be a jiu-jitsu police officer. Because if you like, I've seen those videos where the jiu-jitsu police officer, like that black guy was saved, and then that black guy wasn't even touched. He was just like, first of all, he left that. He'll probably want to do jiu-jitsu afterwards,
Right.
and then he'd probably be nice. You know what I mean? Because whenever I see the jiu-jitsu officer do that, and they could be like the toughest looking tattooed guys, they handle them with so much care and respect that like I don't see like how those guys will like not feel the respect back from the officer, right? And then like they're physically well controlled. Like sure, there's pressure on them, but they're safe, they're fine. But then if like I would shit my fucking self if I have a fucking like an untrained fucking fat fucking like I know I'm fat, but I don't give a fuck. Like a police officer fucking tried to subdue me, man, because he's gonna fucking hurt me. He's gonna be insecure of himself if they're not fucking. If you're not secure of your body, and you can tell how they walk, they're not physically. They don't own their body. They're the ones that are gonna hurt you. They're the ones that are gonna, and they're the one that fucking makes people look bad because they don't know what to fucking do. And they're the ones that can't hold 3 people because they would trip. They would go like this, trying to control one
they're
guy.
gonna be the first to tase you. They're gonna be the first to shoot you.
Don't be that. If you are that fucking fat fucking thing, you know who you fucking are. Come to way of BJJ. I'll be nicer to you if you come here. But it's true. You can't. Like it doesn't. It's fucking. If you are that fucking fat cop and you don't have your fucking control of your body, like, or you can be fat, but at least fucking control your body.
Yeah, let's think. Yeah, I mean, because
like you fucking hurt people.
And you're hurting yourself too. You're putting
insecurity.
you're putting yourself in unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, why wouldn't you want to,
It's your job. It's the most, like you go in there, you know why people get hurt? Because they're unaware. They don't know. There's so much fucking fear. That's why that cop that did jiu-jitsu took those guys easily and they're safe because there was no fear. He was under fucking control the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's why cops nowadays don't get respect because they're never in fucking control.
But it's kind of sad because those videos.
First of all, I'm pro. I think it's
we're
dumb.
pro cop, man. We're
it's
pro
dumb
cop.
that like they're defunding. We should fund more cops
and make them better.
Yeah. Get rid of the fucking shitty ones, right? There's only like a handful of them, and then fucking respect the.
Because I think with social media, right? The videos of like, let's say 3 cops not able to handle one suspect, they get so many views.
Yeah.
Those go viral. So it's kind of not fair to them. But there are also videos of cops who train jiu-jitsu who does a great job, as you were mentioning, right? So there's this one video that I saw, this cop obviously trains jiu-jitsu. I think it's like blue belt or purple belt, whatever, right? Does a Bodylock, right? And then lifts the guy up, but then just as he's about to drop him, just gently set the person down. I'm like, ooh, control.
Yeah.
And then boom, Kimura, right? And then Kimura control, bam. Behind the back, cuff, nothing happened.
And there's something about like people who don't train will not get that. There's something about somebody lifting you up and you fucking know they can fuck you up, but they didn't. You subconsciously, you just have this subtle respect for them.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, thank you.
Yeah, like or you could have killed me.
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like in wrestling, someone like does that thing like, thanks, bro. You're good. I respect. I'm a little bit even more afraid than normal, right? Than he just normally does that to show the control.
Yeah.
Right. So same thing for it's exactly what you said. It's beautiful. It's like that guy was safe. He showed control the whole time. He lets great image for the cops, right? And then great perception for everyone too. Like I would feel protected with them around. I wouldn't want to like defund them.
So here's my challenge to you guys, right? So instead of sharing those videos of cops not being able to handle the suspect, let's share the good cops. Who
I want to see more
with awesome techniques and handling situations.
And let's learn from
professionalism and with skills. Let's share those. Let's make those videos viral.
And for people who are jiu-jitsu, whatever, you know what? Offer your hands out. I want to make it like my kind of a personal goal, like if I know that any police officer and they're willing to, I want to open my arms up to them.
Yeah, and we know enough school owners that I'm pretty sure we can convince any one of them to
help level them up, right?
As well. Yeah.
And you know what? Weed is legal now too, so we don't have to worry about the cops training in there because we have a bunch of potheads in the class. That was my thing before. Is there a coffee? I'm gonna be high as fuck when I go to class.
But there's probably a cop and he just doesn't care.
Yeah, well I know, but now it's just like kind of like
yeah.
But sometimes they shouldn't like, they don't want to be around it. Too,
right. I know.
But now it's like it's okay. Yeah. So now you can mix with them. So street fighting. Here's another thing. If I have a kid, my rule with them after a certain age when they're teenagers is, if they're blue belt, they can stay out 2 to 3 hours longer than the curfew I'm going to give them. It's only safe. I think if a kid reaches that level, Actually got 16 to reach blue belt or orange belt, right? Like for the teens, the higher orange belt. No, actually no. For my teens, because they're gonna be 16, right? They have to be blue belt. Then they can 2 hours. My reasoning for that is for them to get that blue belt. That means they know discipline. That means they have self-control, right?
Yeah.
And then they have self-awareness. I can just trust them more, and most likely they won't get into a fight as much,
Right.
Because they fight every day.
They fight for fun.
Yeah, it's like if someone makes fun of me now, actually, like I would just like take it. Hey, you're whatever, because like I fight. Well, maybe not now. Maybe that's why when we were at IKEA, I wanted to fight that guy. But when I was training and constantly sparring, I wouldn't, because I'm done, and then I'd have to spar again later on. I wouldn't want to waste my sparring time on a guy in the streets. You know what I mean? Which is a good example. This is why I'm so much more aggro now and wanting to start fights all the time, because I haven't been sparring. Wow, sparring's important.
Yeah, it is.
This is how I had to prove my point by me being the hypocrite and stuff right there.
Yeah, because I think I was telling you before we started the podcast, like I've never been in a street fight, but the only time that I almost got in a street fight was when I wasn't training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I don't.
When I haven't even started training jiu-jitsu yet. I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was. Right? That was
you
way
thought
back
you
in
were
the
tough
day.
and you have to
But I was
prove
like,
yourself.
yeah. And then I had my girlfriend, now wife, with me at the time. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta show her how tough I am. But she was the one who dragged me out of the jiu-jitsu. Like, dude, you dumbass motherfucker, what are you doing, man? Don't fight. Let's go. Let's go. Then that's why I didn't get into that fight. But I was ready. But
In your head, you probably watched a lot of Bruce Lee
in my
movies,
head,
you
I thought
fucked
I'm
them
just
up.
gonna, head kick him or something. But
Same thing with me. I refer to the Matrix. So in my head, I would jump in the air,
yeah,
I would pause, and then the camera will go around me, and then I'd kick.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. But now I don't ever have the urge to get into a street fight or prove myself or anything.
Probably don't even have. You know what?
That thought never even crossed my mind, like, ever.
Yeah. So I think the sparring is the best thing. Sparring just gets it out of you, and then if you get it out in you, you walk differently because you just believe in yourself, which will make other people not want to test you. Because in the end, bullies or whatever, or even people want to instigate fight, just picks on probably people that they think they can beat,
Right.
and that won't fight back.
Yeah.
But if they see somebody, like they just sense them, then they won't. So I guess if we were to sum this up in a nutshell, martial arts, 2 phases. You build your weapon and you sharpen it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you just build your weapon and you don't sharpen it, that could be dangerous because you have false sense of confidence.
Yeah.
Right? And then a shitty sharpened weapon, according to our talk and philosophy, we could be wrong, is better than a complicated technical weapon that's not sharp at all.
Right. Yeah. And then lastly, just to be safe on the side of the law, right? So we don't kill people. Even if you train other martial art, you're still
have to
good.
get into
Learn some basic stuff to subdue the person without hurting them.
But there's people like, if they put a thing on me, I'm gonna get back. I call that insecure energy. If you're that powerful, a really, really powerful person,
Yeah.
don't need to hurt. You don't wanna be in a level where that guy
Yeah,
or
if
person.
a 5-year-old is trying to fight you, you wouldn't want to
Yeah.
punch that. You're not gonna
I even
punch
see
the
some
5-year-old.
black belts are like this. If I teach my kids, okay, I'll fight. And but like, no, then you were never really like a martial artist. Then maybe you're a good technical brawler or fighter.
Yeah.
Martial artist. I think martial artists should be like this. If they're bugging you, right? Then that's a fly. Then you're the same size as that fly if it affects you. You want to be that fucking elephant where that fly is not even bugging them, and all they do is like that with their tail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that's just come from training, sparring. Sparring is important.
Exactly. Yeah. So all I want to say is I hope none of us will ever have to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's all train. Let's all think street.
Yes.
Right. Train sport. And then live the fucking art. Let's go.